Hey guys, it's Nick from Pick'em MMA and I'm back with another UFC Fight Night predictions. And I didn't put out a quick picks video for this UFC fight card, but I would like to go more into detail why I'm picking these fighters to win. And therefore, I'm making this video now. Guys, please subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment below. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And I really appreciate everyone that's already subscribed, liked, or commented below. It really means a lot to me, first of all. And also, guys, on for the road to the UFC, I didn't put out a video, but on Tapology, I did make my picks, and also I put out a parlay for the road to the UFC a couple hours before. So I was hoping some of you guys might tail that parlay, and it did work out without any hitch. So like it was like a plus. I had 3 fighters parlay, which would double your money. Like so if you bet $150 on it, so it would give you like a little over 100. So I mean that's good to see. I did really good on the last 2 cards of UFC road to UFC, and I went 10 out of 10, which is really good. Anyways, guys, we finally have a UFC Fight Night card this upcoming weekend, and the main event of the evening is 5-round fight between Kai Kara-France and Amir Albazi. And guys, this Kai Kara-France has been fighting in the UFC for quite a while. I mean, he's had quite a lot of fights. He's had around like 10 total fights in the UFC, and he's got 7 wins and 3 losses in the UFC, which is very pretty damn good, facing really good competition. Anyways, I want to start with the first prelim of the night. The first fight of the night is Maxime Grishin versus Felipe Lins. And guys, I am taking personally, I don't think I'm gonna be betting too much on this fight. Maybe I'll take over 1.5 rounds. I have a hard time seeing Felipe Lins land those big bombs that he always wants to land. And Grishin has faced pretty good competition in the UFC. I mean, I know he's getting up there in age. He's like almost 40 years old. He's 39 as of right now. And he's got 2 wins in the UFC and 2 losses in the UFC. In the PFL, he's 4-0. And his last win was over William Knight, who's not in the UFC, if I'm correct. His only 2 losses are to one of those losses are to Marcin Tybura, who's a heavyweight fighting at 265, and the other loss was to Dustin Jacoby, who's a ranked fighter at 205. So I mean, I'm not gonna hold those losses too much against him. And his other loss was to Magomed Ankalaev. That was like quite a while ago, back in 2016. I mean, so this guy hasn't lost to a lot of like bad fighters. Plus, he's Russian, so I mean that's gotta count for something, right? Felipe Lins, I'm just not too impressed by him. I know he knocked Owen St. Preux, but St. Preux is like over 40, so I mean, yeah, he's 40 right now. He just looked really slow, and I mean, St. Preux just came in for a paycheck in that fight. I do think Grishin is gonna use his wrestling and just make this fight very boring and take the decision here. So my pick is not changing. Still the same, Maxime Grishin by decision. But I do think the safer bet here is the odds aren't too bad. I think the odds right now are sitting at around Grishin is sitting at -130 and Lins is sitting at +110 on DraftKings right now. So the pick is Grishin by decision. And the next fight on the prelims, we have Luan Lacerda versus Damon Blackshear. Guys, I think I did pick Blackshear first. But he hasn't. I'm not too impressed by him. I mean, yeah, he hasn't faced the best competition. He's only had one fight in Bellator, which he won. And the other fight he had in the UFC was against Fareed Basharat, who's the brother of Javid Basharat, who's undefeated. And he didn't look too good in that fight. So I'm switching my pick to Luan Lacerda because this guy has fought in the LFA, which has pretty good fighters. He's 2-0 in LFA. His only loss was to Cody Stamen, who looked pretty good against Andrade. Yeah, he knocked Andrade down a couple times in the last round. So the Cody Stamen, I think, uses wrestling to take the decision. Yeah, I do think Demon Blackshear isn't the wrestler that Stamen is. So I do think Lacerda is gonna be able to land his punches on him. And I'm gonna say he's gonna win by decision. I don't think Damon has been finished before. Yeah, he has not been finished before. Damon does have pretty good submissions, but I just don't see him submitting Lacerda here. Both guys have never been. Lacerda has been submitted once. I think early in his career, back in 2014. So he has come a long way. I mean, I don't see him getting submitted in this fight. I'm gonna go with Luan Lacerda by decision, guys. Just take the money line. The money line I don't think is too bad. Let's see what the money line is sitting at right now. The money line is sitting at around, where is he? Yeah, he's sitting at -145, which I don't think is too bad. I personally wouldn't put him in any parlays. Maybe a long shot parlay, but I do think straight bet on Lacerda moneyline is pretty safe here. Let's go to the next fight on the prelims, which is Jin Yu Frey versus Elise Reed. And all I need to say is Elise Reed is the younger fighter here. She's 30 years old, whereas Jin Yu Frey is 39 almost. Jin Yu Frey is coming off 2 losses. One to Poliana Vienna by knockout in the first round in the first minute back in 2022 November, and the other one to Vanessa Demopoulos by split decision. So just take, if you are going to be betting this fight, which I don't advise, just take Elise Reed money line. She's sitting at -135, I think, right now. Elise Reed is sitting at around -130 or -125, -130 on DraftKings. Just take Elise Reed money line. Let's move to the next fight on the prelims, which is Daniel Willie Cat Santos versus Johnny Munoz. I already made the pick for this fight. This fight was supposed to happen like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it got moved because I think Munoz pulled out from the fight, if I'm correct. And the line has moved pretty damn a lot for Willie Cat Santos here. I still think he's worth betting in this fight. He's gonna have the pressure, he's gonna have the boxing, he's gonna have the power, he's gonna have the chin. And I do see Daniel Willie Cat knocking Munoz out cold in the second round. Just take Daniel Santos by knockout under 2.5 rounds. Let's move to the next fight on the prelims, which is Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky versus Donto Lord King Kong Mays. Andre Arlovsky is the underdog in this fight. Donto Mays is the slight favorite at -125. And the reason I think Donto Mays is the favorite in this fight is because he's a younger fighter here. He's 31 years old, whereas Arlovsky is 44. I do think Andre Arlovsky is the more well-rounded fighter with the better high-level experience. But he is getting up there in age, so he is coming off a loss to Marcos Roderio de Lima, but I still think he's gonna be able to win this fight. I just don't see enough output from Dontel Mays for me to know that he's gonna go out there and throw a lot of volume to get this win. I'm just not impressed by him, by his fighting style. He is 2-3 in the UFC. He's coming off a loss to Augustus Sakai, which was a very boring fight. His only 2 wins are Josh Parisian, who is not in the UFC, I think, anymore. Or maybe still isn't. Yeah, he's still in the UFC, but and the other win was to Martinez, who is not in the UFC anymore. If you are gonna be betting on this fight, I do think Andrei Arlovski as underdog. There is value on him on this fight. Take Andrei Arlovski by decision. Yeah, he's sitting at minus 105 or plus 105. Yeah, he's sitting at plus 105 right now. The underdog, Andrei Arlovski by decision is the pick here. Let's move to the next fight on the prelims. We have John Castaneda versus Muin Gufurov. This is a replacement. This guy just took this fight on short notice, and I haven't heard about him before. Gafurov. He is coming off wins in LFA. 2 wins in LFA by spinning back kick, and the other one overhand right. I think he was supposed to fight Mendoza. The pick here is John Castaneda. I don't think the lines are there for this fight. I don't think they have lines for this fight yet, because they just made this fight back. They just put this fight back on the card. Yeah, I don't think there's lines for this card, for this fight, I mean. Yo, there is lines, okay. So John Castaneda is a slight favorite, minus 145. Guy, just bet John Castaneda. Just put everything on John Castaneda. I do think he's gonna be able to win this fight. He has so much UFC level experience. He's had 4 fights in the UFC, and he's got wins over Miles Johns and then Eddie Wineland. Coming off a loss to Daniel Santos, where he did put it on Willie Cat. He knocked Willie Cat down a couple times, but Willie Cat just has that crazy chin. I just don't know what Gafurov will look in this fight. I mean, he hasn't had a camp for this fight. I don't think so. He took this fight on like a week's notice for his opportunity to come to UFC. And at 1, he's 3-3 at fighting at 1 championship. So yeah, take John Castaneda by knockout. Gafurov has never been finished. Wow. I do think he's gonna be finished in this fight. I'm gonna go with John Castaneda by finish, likely knockout. Yeah, I'm gonna go with John Castaneda by knockout. Let's go to the featured prelim of the night. We have Elizio Zaleski versus Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Guys, all I need to say is we're getting a Russian Nurmagomedov at underdog value. Wow, the lines moved. He's not the underdog anymore. It's a pick'em fight now. So a lot of juice must have came in on Nurmagomedov. That name carries a lot of weight. So he's sitting at minus 110. Zaleski is sitting at minus 110. Guys, I'm still going to be picking Abubakar Nurmagomedov. He has faced a better competition, I think. Zaleski has been knocked out by Li Jingliang. Zaleski does have pretty good experience at the UFC. He's 9-3. He is 36 years old. Coming off a win over Benoit Saint Denis by decision. I'm still gonna go with Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov. I'm gonna go with by decision. I do think he's gonna be able to control Zaleski here, land enough volume to take the decision here. So Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov, take Moneyline. I think Moneyline is the safest play. I don't think Abu Bakar has many finishes at the UFC level. I could be wrong, but yeah, he hasn't had any finishes. He's won 2 fights, all by decision. And he's been submitted once in the UFC by Craig, I think, yeah. He's been submitted by who? By David Jawada. Never mind, not Craig. By this guy. That was early though. He got an arm triangle where he was controlling the guy. I don't see Zaleski locking in a choke here. I think Abu Bakar Nurmagomedov is the play here, guys. Abu Bakar by decision is the pick here, guys. Let's move to the main card now, where we have Guram Kutateladze versus Jamie Mullarkey. Guys, there's a reason Guram is a minus 340 right now. He could be even a bigger. He's minus 325 right now. So some money came in on Jamie Mullarkey. I do think Guram is safe to put in your parlays. I definitely have him in my parlays. The pick here definitely 100% is Guram. He has a much better wrestling, the much better pressure. He's got a win over Mateusz Gamrot. I mean, Gamrot is a top level fighter, and he's got a win over him. I do see Guram finishing this fight by ground and pound, maybe round 2, ground and pound TKO. So Guram by TKO is a good prop to play here. Let's move to the next fight on the main card, where we have Karine Silva versus Caitlin Souza. I'm still gonna go with Karine Silva. The lines did move for her. She was like a minus 180. The last video I made. Karine Silva is the better fighter in my opinion. She's 1 year older, I think, from Caitlin. Caitlin is making her UFC debut, so we don't know how she's gonna look. She's coming off wins in Invicta, which isn't too bad, I guess, but this is a step up for her. So I do think Karine Silva is gonna win this fight. I'm gonna go by decision. Karine Silva by decision. Maybe submission, but I don't think submission. I think Caitlin does have pretty good jiu-jitsu. She's fighting out of Brazil also, so I'm pretty sure she's gonna have good defense for submissions. Just take Karine Silva money line. It's still not too bad. I don't know if she's safe to put in parlays, because we don't know how Caitlin's gonna look in this fight. I have a half a unit bet on Karine Silva when I got her at minus 185, I think, earlier. She's sitting at around minus 225 right now. Yeah. So Karine Silva by decision is the official pick. Let's go to the next fight on the main card, where we have Tim Elliott versus Victor Altamirano. Guys, the pick is Tim Elliott. He has a very good UFC level experience against pretty high level fighters. And Victor, hasn't faced the best competition coming into UFC. He's got good wins at LFA, so against pretty good fighters. But I just feel like Tim, he just has so many tricks up his sleeves. He knows what to do to win fights. And I just see him controlling, using his wrestling pressure to beat Victor here. He is 7-10 in the UFC, but he has faced pretty good fighters. I mean, look at this. He's got a loss to Mateus Nicolau, who's like a top 10 fighter. Brandon Royval, who's gonna be fighting for the belt next. Askar Askarov, who's like only got one loss. It's like second ranked fighter or third ranked fighter. And Davison Figueiredo, who is a ex-champion of flyweight before Brandon Moreno. I mean, so all of his losses are to like really good fighters. Dimitri Johnson, Ben Nguyen, some dude that I haven't heard of, who's on a losing streak right now. I mean, he hasn't lost to some cans. So Tim Elliott Moneyline is a good play in my opinion. Let's move to the next fight on the main card. The featured fight on the main card, which is Jim Miller versus Jared Flash Gordon. We have Jim Miller, A10, going up against the younger Jared Gordon. Guys, the problem I have with betting this fight is, obviously I know Jared Gordon is a younger fighter, does have better good pressure, pretty good wrestling, good cardio, good volume. He looked pretty good against Green, Bobby Green. He was landing more strikes than Bobby Green was landing on him before he got headbutted and then ground and pounded into the third, he got knocked out after with the ground and pound. So I don't know how he's gonna come back from that. Like, this guy has had the worst luck ever, if I'm being honest. In his last 5 fights, I think he won that fight against Paddy Pimblett. His only loss was to Grant Dawson by submission. And he was piecing Grant Dawson up, if I remember correctly, in that fight. But then Grant Dawson took his back and just choked him out. Jim Miller does have pretty good jiu-jitsu also. Really good. He still got power. So I don't have any bets on Jared Gordon. He is the better fighter here, the younger fighter. But you don't know how someone's gonna look after like that ground and pound TKO. I mean, even though it was no contest, he still got like knocked out. I think the play here should be Jim Miller by TKO, because he could catch him. I mean, Jim Miller knocked Nicholas Mota out on the feet like with his strike, so he's still got a lot of power. This was last year in February. I mean, Nicholas Mota doesn't go down, get knocked out easily. And he put his lights out on the feet. So if Gordon isn't careful here, he could absolutely get slept. But I just can't take a 40-year-old fighter fighting at lightweight 155. I'm going to say Jared Gordon by decision is the official pick. Let's move to the co-main event of the evening, guys. Please subscribe, like, and comment below. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And leave a comment below who you're going to be taking in these fights. Now let's move to the co-main event of the evening, where we have Alex Caceres versus Daniel Pineda. Guys, the pick still is Alex Caceres. I do think he's gonna use his kickboxing. His kicks are so damn fast. The way he knocked Julian Erosa out cold with his kick. He got that kick up so damn fast. His only, like in his last couple of fights, his only loss was to Sadiq Yusuf, and then he's been also competing in grappling, where Pat Sabatini choked him out in the in the 6th minute. So it's good to see that he's still grappling out there competing, not just sitting home watching TV. He's trying to improve on his grappling. And Pineda is definitely a grappler. Daniel Pineda has a lot of submission wins. He's got his 4 wins are by submission, and 1 win is by knockout. He's been knocked out in the UFC once, and then lost by decision 3 times in the UFC. And Cub Swanson knocked him out cold back in 2020. I just have a hard time seeing Daniel Pineda taking Alex's back and choking him out. So the pick is Alex Caceres by knockout. Caceres, he's been fighting in the UFC for a pretty long time. I mean, this is why his record looks like this, 20-13, because most of his fights are in the UFC. He's got 27 fights in the UFC. That's just insane. Like he's been in the UFC from 2011 to 20 to present. Like he's been fighting the best fighters for over a decade. I'm definitely picking Alex Caceres. He is the favorite in this fight. He's sitting at -175 right now. I do think he's gonna knock Daniel Pineda out cold. He's got 4 wins by knockout, 7 wins by submission, and 9 wins by decision. Just take a money line. I think Alex Caceres' money line is the safer play here. Alright guys, let's move to the main event of the evening. Guys, if you have seen my last video, you would know that I picked Kai Kara-France to win this fight. But however, I'm switching my pick, guys. I have been stalking Amir Albazi out on social media, and he has been training like crazy. I mean, this guy's training with Patchy Mix, who fights in Bellator, who just won the Grand Prix. I mean, he's fighting with the best jiu-jitsu fighters, and he's been looking really good. I just feel like Kai Kara-France has seen the top. He's been in the UFC for quite a long time, and he's 7-3 in the UFC. Let's look at the heights. Kai Kara-France is 5'4" with 66.5 inch reach, whereas Albazi is 5'5" with the 68 inch reach, so he does have a reach advantage over Kai Kara-France. Albazi does have pretty good boxing also, so he's not just a wrestler, but where he does better at is wrestling for sure. He's on a 5-5 win streak right now, and this is the reason the UFC is pushing him for this fight. Made this fight, they wanna get new blood up there for Brandon Moreno, and he's coming off a win over Alexander Costa, where he knocked him out on the feet, knocked uppercut 2 ground punches in the 3rd round. So I mean, he does carry his power into later rounds, but I think what he's gonna do in this fight is he's gonna just wrestle him down, wear him out, take his energy slowly, so there isn't too much staying on Kai Kara-France's punches. I think that's how he's gonna win this fight. He's gonna choke him out later, maybe in the 3rd or 4th round. Kaikara Francis, he does have pretty good wrestling, takedown defense right now, but yeah, he has been finished quite a while. I mean, quite a couple times. He's been knocked out 3 times in his career, and submitted 3 times in his career. And he's been in the UFC. He's been knocked out once, submitted once, lost by decision once. Roy Wall submitted him by guillotine choke in the 2nd round, and Brandon Moreno beat him by decision. Brandon Moreno beat him by knockout with a liver kick, where he was looking pretty good in that fight against Brandon Moreno. He was piecing him up. I did have a Kai Kara France. I did have a bet on him on that fight, but my official pick was Brandon Moreno in that fight. I just thought Kai Kara France he had a pretty good chance to beat Moreno, but Moreno just has crazy heart, crazy will. But let's move back. I moved to Brandon Moreno. I don't know why I'm talking about Moreno. He's gonna be fighting Albazi, so he does train out of City Kickboxing. So he trains with Israel Adesanya and Volkanovski and those guys. That camp is definitely gonna get him ready for this fight. But I just don't see Albazi giving him the chance to land those big bombs on him. I just see Amir just wrestling him down, like controlling him over and over. And I'm sure Amir is gonna be really prepared for this fight. He knows this opportunity won't come again. And his only loss was to Jose Torres back in 2019, who also made it to the UFC, I guess. So, guys, that's why I'm switching my pick. I feel like the wrestling pressure is going to be too much for France. Like I was really deciding if I should go back or switch my pick or not, because France, he's a really good fighter. There's nothing wrong that he's doing, but this is what worries me. I mean, some people that have good jiu-jitsu are able to choke him out. That's what worries me. What's his other 10 losses? Yeah, he's been choked out before. Rear naked choked back in 2014. Choked out 3 times, 2 times in a row in the 1st round. Well, he's been choked out before too. He's choked someone else out. I don't know. I just feel like Albazi is gonna be able to use his wrestling pressure. Maybe a ground and pound TKO, or I think it's gonna be submission. I mean, he likes his submissions. He's gonna soften him up with the ground and pound and lock in that rear naked choke. Albazi does have 52 wins by submission in the UFC, 1 win by knockout and 1 win by decision. He submitted Francisco Figueiredo, who's got very good level jiu-jitsu also, the brother of Davison Figueiredo. He just took him down and just locked in that choke real fast in that fight. It was in the 1st round too, like in the first minute or two. I remember watching that fight. That fight was crazy. So guys, that's my pick here. Please subscribe, like, and comment below who you're gonna be going with on this main event of the evening. And I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. and I'll see you guys next time. I will be making a parlays video, the best underdogs of this card video. So please subscribe and turn the notifications on. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate each one of you guys who watch my videos. It really means a lot to me. Thank you. Take care of yourself. See you guys next time. Bye now.